The last sound humans hear before death. What is the last thing you will ever hear? Close your eyes for a moment. Think about it. Not the last words of a loved one. Not the beep of a hospital monitor. Not the sound of rain on a window or wind through trees or music that makes you cry. I mean the very last sound. The final vibration that hits your eardrums before everything goes silent forever. What would it be? A scream, a whisper, a deafening roar, or something so subtle you wouldn't even notice it? Here's the strange, unsettling truth. We actually know the answer to this question. We've studied it. We've measured it. We've watched people die and listened to what happens in those final moments. And what we found is both beautiful and terrifying, both peaceful and deeply weird. Because the last sound you hear isn't what you think. It's not dramatic. It's not cinematic. It's something else entirely. Something that changes everything we thought we knew about death. But before we get to that, let's talk about what happens to your brain when you die. Because that's where the real story begins. The final moments. Your brain is a machine. An incredibly complex, beautiful, fragile machine made of billions of neurons firing in patterns that create everything you are. Your thoughts, your memories, your personality, your love, your fear, your hope. All of it is just electricity and chemistry dancing inside your skull. And when you die, that dance doesn't just stop. It changes. It transforms. It does something extraordinary. In 2022, a research team at the University of Louisville made a discovery that shocked the scientific world. They were monitoring the brain of an 87-year-old epilepsy patient when the patient suddenly died of a heart attack. The team was recording the patient's brain activity at the time. They expected the brain to go quiet. They expected flat lines and silence. Instead, they got something else entirely. In the moments after the heart stopped, when the brain was supposedly dead, they saw a massive surge of activity. Specifically, they saw gamma waves, the fastest and most complex brain waves we know of. These are the waves associated with consciousness, memory, and dreaming. They are the waves that appear when you're wide awake and thinking deeply, or when you're in REM sleep and having vivid dreams. And in this dying brain, the gamma waves lasted for almost 90 seconds. After the heart stopped, the researchers were stunned. They didn't expect this. They couldn't explain it, but the implication was clear. The brain doesn't go quiet when you die. It goes loud. It goes wild. It throws a final party of electrical activity that scientists are still trying to understand. So what is that activity? What's happening in those final moments? Some researchers believe it's a last-ditch effort to survive. The brain, sensing that death is imminent, fires everything it has in a desperate attempt to jumpstart the heart or preserve consciousness. Others believe it's something more mysterious, a replay of your life, a final dream, a moment of clarity that transcends normal experience. But whatever it is, it's accompanied by sound, and that sound is what we need to talk about. The sound of dying. There's a phenomenon called tinnitus. It's a ringing in the ears that millions of people experience. It can be mild or severe. It can come and go or be constant. It can sound like a high-pitched whistle, a low hum, or even a roar. And here's the thing. Tinnitus isn't a sound from outside. It's a sound from inside. It's what happens when your auditory system misfires. When the brain doesn't get the signal it expects from the ear, it creates its own signal. It fills the silence with something, anything. Now imagine that happening on a massive scale. Imagine every neuron in your auditory system firing at once. Imagine the brain, deprived of sensory input, creating its own reality. That's what happens in those final moments. The brain stops hearing the outside world. It has no choice. The ears are failing. The nerves are dying. The signals aren't arriving. So the brain does the only thing it can. It makes its own sound. And that sound, it's a deep, resonant hum, a kind of overwhelming white noise. Some people who have died and come back, the ones we call near-death experiencers, describe it as a rushing sound, like wind or water. Others describe it as a deep vibration, like the lowest note of a cello played at maximum volume. Still others describe it as a ringing, a tone that seems to come from everywhere at once. But it's always there. It's always present. It's the background music of dying. This is the last sound you will ever hear. A hum, a drone, a vibration that fills your entire being. And then silence. But here's where it gets fascinating. This hum might not be just a random noise. It might be the signature of consciousness itself. Think about it. Your brain is made of billions of neurons, each one firing in a specific pattern. Those patterns create rhythms, waves, frequencies. And when you die, when the brain loses its coordination, those waves become chaotic. They become a single massive wave of activity that washes over everything. And the sound of that wave, the sound of all those neurons firing at once, that's the hum. Some researchers believe this hum is the brain's way of processing the transition. It's the neural equivalent of a final breath, a last gasp of consciousness before everything goes dark. And it's accompanied by something else, something even more mysterious: the life review. People who have had near-death experiences often describe seeing their lives flash before their eyes, a rapid-fire replay of memories, both significant and trivial, all happening in an instant. Scientists used to dismiss this as a hallucination, a side effect of oxygen deprivation or drugs. But after the 2022 study, they're not so sure. Because if the brain is producing massive gamma waves in those final moments, that's exactly the kind of activity you'd expect from a brain that's replaying memories. So maybe the hum is the soundtrack to your life review. Maybe it's the ambient noise of your brain searching through your memories. Maybe it's the sound of your entire existence being compressed into a single moment. And if that's true, then the last sound you hear isn't random. It's deeply personal. It's the sound of you, all of you, everything you ever were, everything you ever did, everything you ever felt, all reduced to a single, overwhelming tone. But there's another possibility, one that's even stranger: the frequency of death. We know that certain frequencies affect human consciousness. Brain waves are measured in hertz. Delta waves, associated with deep sleep, are around 0.5 to 4 hertz. Theta waves, associated with meditation and creativity, are around 4 to 8 hertz. Alpha waves, associated with relaxation and calm, are around 8 to 13 hertz. Beta waves, associated with active thinking and concentration, are around 13 to 30 hertz. Gamma waves, associated with peak performance and insight, are around 30 to 100 hertz. Now, here's the thing. Some researchers believe that consciousness itself has a frequency, that the universe hums at a specific frequency, and that the brain, in those final moments, is tuning into that frequency. They've given it a name. They call it the Schumann resonance. It's the frequency of the Earth itself. It's the natural electromagnetic background vibration of our planet, measured at around 7.83 hertz. And here's the kicker. The Schumann resonance is in the same range as theta brain waves, the kind of brain waves associated with deep relaxation, meditation, and mystical experiences. Some people believe that when you die, your brain synchronizes with the Earth's natural frequency, that you become one with the planet in those final moments, that the hum you hear is the hum of the world itself. Is that true? We don't know, but it's a beautiful idea that even in death, even at the very end, you're not alone. You're connected to something big, something ancient, something that's been humming since the dawn of time, the silence after, and then silence, complete, total, absolute silence. Not the silence of a quiet room, not the silence of a snowy night, a silence so profound it's almost tangible. A silence that's not just the absence of sound, but the absence of everything. No heart beating, no blood flowing, no thoughts forming, no emotion stirring. Just silence, pure and infinite. Is that what death is? A return to silence, a cessation of the noise that defines our lives? Or is it a transition, a passage from one kind of hearing to another? People who have had near-death experiences often describe a sense of peace in those final moments, a feeling of release, a letting go of all the worry, all the fear, all the pain. They describe a sense of being enveloped in something warm and loving, something that feels like home. And they describe the sound, always the sound, that deep, resonant hum that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, a sound that feels like it's been there all along, hidden beneath the surface of reality, a sound that welcomes them, So what is that sound? Is it the brain's final message? Is it the Earth's heartbeat? Is it something else entirely? Something we can't even begin to understand? Or is it simply the sound of nothing? The sound of everything ending? The sound of the last neuron firing? The last synapse connecting? The last bit of electricity leaving your body? What we know. This is what we know. We know that the brain remains active for minutes after death. We know that it produces gamma waves, the signature of consciousness. We know that people who have died and come back report experiences that include a sense of peace, a life review, and a sound. We know that sound is often described as a hum or a vibration, and we know that this hum is likely the brain's own creation, a neural artifact of a system shutting down. But that's all we know. The rest is speculation. It's mystery. It's the unknown. And that's okay, because maybe some things are meant to be mysterious. Maybe the last sound you hear is a gift, a final experience, a last moment of consciousness before everything fades. Maybe it's the brain's way of saying goodbye, a farewell symphony performed by billions of neurons playing their final notes. Think about that. You will spend your entire life hearing sounds. You'll hear music and laughter and tears. You'll hear the voices of people you love. You'll hear birds and wind and rain. You'll hear the sound of cities and forests and ocean. You'll hear the sounds of your own voice, your own breath, your own heartbeat. And at the very end, you'll hear one last sound, a sound no one else can hear, a sound that's yours alone, a sound that's the final expression of your life, your brain, your consciousness. And then silence. But is it really silence? Or is it just that you're no longer there to hear? Because if consciousness continues, if there's something beyond, then maybe the hum isn't the end. Maybe it's a transition. Maybe it's a doorway. Maybe it's the sound of everything changing. The meaning. Here's the thing about this whole question. It's not really about what you'll hear. It's about what it means. It's about how you live your life knowing that this is how it ends. Because when you truly accept that death is real, that it's coming for you, that it's coming for everyone you love, something changes. You stop taking things for granted. You start appreciating the small moments. You start listening more carefully. You start loving more deeply. Because if you only have so many sounds left to hear, you want to make each one count. You want to hear the laughter of your children. You want to hear the voice of your partner saying your name. You want to hear the music that makes you cry. You want to hear the wind in the trees and the rain on the roof and the quiet breathing of someone sleeping next to you. You want to fill your life with sounds so beautiful, so meaningful, that the last one, the final one, the hum of your dying brain, is just a gentle coda to an incredible symphony. So here's a thought. Don't wait until you're dying to listen. Listen now. Really listen. Close your eyes and hear what's around you. The world is full of sounds you've been ignoring. Subtle sounds, beautiful sounds, sounds that remind you you're alive. Because you are. Right now, at this moment, you're alive. You're breathing. You're hearing. You're feeling. And that's a miracle that won't last forever. So listen. Just listen. Because one day, you won't be able to anymore. One day, the only sound you'll hear is the hum. The final hum. The last sound you will ever hear. And then everything will be silent. But until then, there's still music. There's still laughter. There's still love. There's still the sound of the world spinning, humming, singing, and that's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything. The last sound you hear before death is the sound of your brain saying goodbye. But the sounds you hear before that, the sounds you're hearing right now, those are the sounds of life, and they are precious beyond measure.